And if that is the case, then this very famous French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, when he said, "We are what our choices are," stands corrected. Perfect. Now here's another thing. The thing that destroyed Albert Einstein, what was that thing? And which pained him to hell. Quantum mechanics, come on. Quantum mechanics, everything is probabilistic. हो रहा नहीं हो रहा पता ही नहीं. Right? Unpredictability of behavior. So if that is the case, now let's just look at this. If the universe is probabilistic, then if I raise my hand and drop it like that, the entire fate of the universe changes. The way you look at somebody will change the fate of the universe. You can write poetry about it, by the way. I'm just dropping hints. Right? If that is the case, then everything is probabilistic. Everything is. And then, what the choices that you make will determine the fate of the universe. And here, Sartre is right. So the two questions that we'll be struggling with right now. So let me tell you the cosmological history of the universe. So as the belief, at the beginning of the universe, there was something called quantum fluctuations. There was absolutely nothing. Something erupted, we don't know what. And nobody has that answer. And people who claim to have that answer, please give them my support. They need that. I'll tell you what, and there's a reason why. Well, we come to that, not now. So quantum fluctuations happen. Perfect. The first particle was created. Perfect. What is the third law of Newton's mechanics? Class की आदत नहीं लेगी. To every action, the reaction will be equally opposite in direction and in magnitude. Perfect. And because it was a dynamic equilibrium, the universe decided this guy can't stay because I am empty. Right? Equilibrium got disturbed, right? So you can stop me if you don't understand. Right? So because this guy existed, fine. That's what happens first years. आप आते हैं, आपका कोई काम नहीं होता है. आप सिर्फ इक्विलिब्रियम डिस्टर्ब करते हैं. So now equilibrium got disturbed, and the universe, like all old people, you can't exist. I have to kill you. It's like Voldemort killing Harry Potter. Yeah, you got the pun. Good. So now this guy, Harry Potter, has to fight back. What will it do? Equal and opposite reaction. And the magnitude of forces will increase. And will keep on increasing. The plasma will keep on increasing. And when that happens, what will happen? It's called, the structure will go bigger. Right? It will keep on, the bulge will get enhanced, and eventually what happened? Big Bang. Yeah. Now, when the Big Bang happened, it's basically universe vomiting, lots of hot fluid. So much so that it's basically quark and gluon plasma. So quarks and gluons are fundamental particles. Quarks are held by gluons, they make other particles. Fine? Following? Yes. Good. So now when that happened, and how does, so can anybody tell me what is the interacting particle for electromagnetic radiations? Photon. Photon, right? Good. Small cube particle. Photon. So because there is so much heat, that photons were not even able to get out of the plasma. And then there's something which we call the great photon escape happened after 300,000 years of Big Bang when the plasma cooled down. Right? And the remnants of that is called the cosmic microwave background radiation. It is the universe which passes through you. It is passing through you right now, and you can't help it. The universe is just walking like that, like a ghost, all the time. And that won people Nobel Prize, that image that was taken by Planck that way. So when that happened, when things started cooling down, the first atom was made, then first molecule was made, then first gas cloud was made. Gas clouds in the universe are like art clouds, white ones, but basically hanging in vacuum. Okay? Right? Alright. So let's just do a little parallelogram method here. So if there is a phase space like this auditorium, right? All of us have mass, and let's just assume we are unequally distributed. And every particle is attracting every other particle. With what force? Force of gravity? F is equal to universal gravitational constant into product of masses and the radial distance between them squared. Perfect? 10th star physics. That's how stars form. So now these clumps started coming together because they were unequally distributed. तो कुछ क्लम्स यहाँ थे, कुछ वहाँ थे, तो अलग-अलग सेंटर ऑफ मासेस बने, और वो क्लम्प पास में आने लगे. So when these clumps started coming together, that phenomenon is called the gravitational collapse. So many clumps around, and suddenly you find, when I'm saying suddenly, I'm actually talking about at least a couple of million years, couple of 100 million years. So in astronomy, sudden is about 100,000 years at least. So suddenly what you see is this gas cloud starts collapsing. And that collapses because of gravity. And when that collapses because of gravity, all these particles are together. And because all these particles are together, heat rises up. And because heat rises up, nuclear fusion starts. And then the first star is born. And that is how the first light came to be. And then you saw the first star. And those first stars, because they were, where were they? In the space. And their masses. They will move around some very center. So the first galaxies will form. And these galaxies eventually collided. If you want, there's a Hamilton-Kaufman paper which talks about hierarchical merging. So basically the small galaxies merged into each other, and then they became bigger galaxies, and the bigger galaxies collided, and they eventually so on and so forth. Now there's an interesting thing that happened, which I'll be talking about, is black holes. Right? So what are black holes? Black holes are dead stars. Period. Stars that have died are black holes. Right? And why there's a whole word in that? Because there's a space-time fabric. वो बहुत ज़्यादा dense है, तो उसने ज़्यादा bend कर दिया. That's exactly what has happened. Because of the density, it creates the curve. But there is nothing much to it. And because stars were formed early in the universe, so they were dying early in the universe, right? Logical conclusions. Both are wrong, right? So there is nothing together. So अभी वही same. अब ब्लैक होल्स हो गए हैं कुछ सारे मरे हुए स्टार्स, अब वो पास आ रहा है, मर्ज हो जा रहा है. अब वो मर्ज हो जा रहा है तो बड़े ब्लैक होल्स बन जा रहे हैं. बड़े ब्लैक होल्स आ जाएंगे बैक सेंटर मास वाला, वो अपने आप ग्रेविटेट होकर सेंटर ऑफ मास से आएगा नहीं आएगा. तो what? So then there's a very interesting research which happened in 1980. There's a paper in 1980 by Bigelow et al. It talks about every galaxy has a central black hole. We call it supermassive black hole. So in that, because every smaller galaxy had black holes, वो galaxies merge करने के बाद वो black holes के masses बढ़ते गए और बढ़ते और बहुत बड़ा हो. तो जब ये दो galaxies merge हो रही हैं, so there was a spiraling which was happening. So imagine there's this one black hole here, and the other galaxies merges and it starts swirling around. There's a tidal accretion which happens, and then they bind together. That's called the last parsec. These two black holes become very close but not merge for a long time. That is called the last parsec problem. That is something which people who are interested in astronomy must look at. So these two things come together, it's like a covalent bond, and then they eventually merge. When they merge, then you see something which is detected by LIGO in 2015. That is called gravitational waves, ripples in space-time. Okay, next. Yeah, so this is, I will talk about, this is called HR diagram. It basically talks about how stars decay. So go look at that 10,000 thing there, where the grey brown starts. That is where the regular star will start. So that grey line is called the main sequence, where it's like this. What is your standard living lifetime? You become a teen and then you realize that you are something is about 16. And then you become old and then you don't want to retire is 55. Like 50 to 55. That range. That is the main part of your life, isn't it? Yes. Good. I like responses. This is called feedback. So that is exactly what gray line is about. The main sequence. The sequence where start from hydrogen star, it will become helium star, and then eventually it will go on and so on and so forth. And then it will become a red giant. From 7 is the place where I star will go into red giant, and by the time it becomes red giant, its radius from this place where sun is right now will extend towards Mars. और बचेगा नहीं, मैं बहुत निलस हूँ, मुझे कितना मजा आएगा. And then they burst. So they burst into something called a planetary nebula. So when a star is bursting, so it's an interesting thing. When a star bursts, it gives birth to a stellar nursery. It's like teenage. कुछ भी कर दे रहे हैं लोग. This is where inspiration comes from. Fiction is not fiction, it is reality in some parallel universe, right? You are not imagining things, are you? And then eventually the co-collapse will happen, and there's something called a white dwarf and a brown dwarf. Too much technical. Next. Okay, next. Good. So there are 4 types of fundamental laws. As you see, there are relativistic laws, Newtonian laws, and then there are quantum mechanical laws and quantum gravity laws. So we can interestingly look at quantum gravity laws, which are marked in red, which is primarily the things that you want to talk about. You want to talk about how universe came to be, cosmology. Then you want to talk about singularities, string theory, right? How singularities look like. How many of you have watched this movie called Interstellar? I love this audience. Thank you so much for watching that movie. The good thing about that movie is it is factually correct. I mean, unlike all science fiction movies, because Kip Thorne was on board when the movie script was being written, and he won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2017. Now, then of course you want to talk about time travel. I think I've already given you an explanation by analogy of Tinder, right? कर लेना भाई, जाके यूज कर लेना, अभी मत डाउनलोड करो, रुक जाओ. Next. All right. Black hole. Good. Interesting, right? बस इतना सही है. So what is happening is, it's like this. तुमने एक टैंपलिन उठाया, उसके अंदर तुमने दुनिया भर का वजन रख दिया, वो नीचे झुक गया. But here's an interesting thing. If you're looking at the curve from inside, it is basically, for an infinitesimal point, it is basically x and y. Right? 2 dimensions. And then it will transcend into 3. And when you're looking at the space-time, you're looking at a 4-dimensional object. So if you're looking at a circle, it turns into sphere in 3 dimensions. And circle will become a line in 2 dimensions. Right? So just a way of looking at things. So again, it's like this, if you put a huge mass on a space-time, fabric is a colloquial word. There's nothing called a fabric there. कुछ नहीं बिछा रखा है हमने. Everything is in the free form. Next. Nice. I like this. इसीलिए तो आए तुम. This is called a black hole. तो अपन थोड़ा सा इसे देखते हैं. एक सेकंड. Can you play that video called Naked Singularity? I think I would need the lights. Pause. Can you just switch off the lights? मैं इंटरस्टेलर दिखा रहा हूँ आपको. Very good. अभी चलाओ. So that thing that you just saw is called the naked singularity. I'll explain it quickly. And the bright thing is the crimson disk.
What's that? Looking down beneath it. Not through it. Heading towards blackness.
And the reason why I'm showing you this video because I like it.
Are you reading? It's all blackness. Cars. Are you reading me over? Screens. Any interference. Losing control. Sick. Got the flashes. Flashes of lightness. Blindness. Turbulence in the gravity. Crazy. Computer's going down. Things up, won't lose control. Sick.
Two things. Can we go back to the slide? Yeah, thanks. So you saw Gravitational Collapse. So one interesting thing will happen when Kipthon's group simulated that image. They're basically looking at rotating singularities or rotating black holes. So exceeds a certain limit or certain velocity, that singularity becomes naked. We don't have naked singularities in the universe, by the way. But at certain rotational speed, it just kicks everything on, and it is just has the photons here, and that's it. Now here's another thing. Before I go and explain this, imagine me, right? And I became super ambitious. I went running to a black hole and I wanted to die. And I just, I was standing there, I said, I don't want to live, and I just fell down. Right? But you won't know. Because at this space, just outside, at the periphery of the event horizon, the gravity is enormous, right? So the photons that will escape from my body, you see my body because the photons striking my body and you are looking at it, right? Those photons will get shut. That's why if we are looking at stars, they are perhaps not there, most of them, or some of them. So when we're looking at sun, it's about 8 minutes old. When we're looking at moon, it's about 1.2 seconds old. Right? Right? Following me? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now you tell me this. If the universe has ended, and the photon that started when the end of the universe happened has not reached us yet, how will we know that the universe has ended already? Boom. A revelation. So, perhaps all of us are dead. We are just imagining things like a collective hallucination. Right? You were not expecting these questions, were you? No, coming back. But that is something to ponder upon. That teaches, if not anything else, that teaches us humility. Astronomy, of all sciences, is something which teaches us humility of all of the things that it does. So coming back to the structure of black hole, what we are looking at is something which is singularity, which is inside, we just saw. Right? The Gargantua movie Interstellar. Perfect? And because it was spinning at the velocity which is far above the critical limit, so that is why the singularity became naked. Otherwise you don't see singularity as naked. Now, because I showed you, can we go back to the picture as this ant is climbing ambitiously? Yeah. Just go back. Okay. Not this one. ना भाई रुक जा कर ली बातें हम लोगों ने क्या हुआ वहाँ AI हो जा रहा है अंदर हाँ नहीं क्या यस तो मैं क्या हो रहा था हाँ so this is two-dimensional. We're looking at the circumference. It's circular, right? And I said if I take circle in 3 dimensions, it becomes sphere. So when looking at something, so that's so, flat Earth society is right. For them it's like 2-dimensional world. They don't know anything else. Poor them. So that will become 3-dimensional when looking at something like that. Yeah, we'll go back to thanks. So that is why the black hole, you've been imagining black hole as something which is digging hole in the space-time. It's not happening like that. It's just a sphere out there. So when you look at the structure, so you've seen photos of galaxies there, not the one sitting next to you. So you see this galaxy, right? So there is a central disk, right? And then you see the bulge in the center, right? So that bulge houses the singularity or the black hole. And every galaxy there is something called a supermassive black hole. And supermassive black holes are of the order 10 to the power 10 solar masses. Humongous. And the mass limit is 10 to the power 14, if I'm not wrong. There's Andrew's paper in 2015 on that. So it cannot go beyond that. It will collapse. That's what they say. Andrew King's paper. So that, and so there's a disk, there is a bulge, there are spiral arms, and then there's something which which surrounds it. It's called the galactic halo. Right? It's like galaxy's border. And in galactic halo, you have something called globular galaxies, like blobs, some stars, clouds, and all that. And even there, you have black holes. So when we say that we have seen or we've observed binary black hole collisions in X galaxy, we're basically looking at that structure, and somewhere these two black holes have merged. So there are three types of black holes: stellar mass black holes, which explains what it means; black holes, which are of whose mass is about some stars. Then there are intermediate mass black holes, which are bigger than stars but smaller than massive black holes. And then there are supermassive black holes, which are humongous, which we also call the active galactic nuclei. Active anywhere, when you're looking at in any astronomical term, it practically talks about a black hole. Galactic is galaxy, nuclei is nucleus. Physics is so simple. If I say black hole, I mean black hole. Right? I will not say esophagus when I mean food pipe. Doesn't happen. It's our phone. No. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So you have singularity there, and that singularity becomes naked when it is spinning at a certain speed. Wonderful. And the photon sphere is there because the photons are not able to escape the certain gravity which is held by black hole. And then there's something called an accretion disk, which you see, which is basically a hot fluid of stellar remnants or masses, gases, molecules, and all that. So that's where we see the polar jets that we see here, relativistic jet. They're basically gamma rays. So that's how we detect that gamma rays, X-rays. That's how we detect that there is a certain high energy phenomenon which is happening. Right, next. इसकी फोटो चाहिए. So EHT's image, the fascination of this image is, I'll give you it's a long analogy, but you'll understand the fascination. Imagine your shadow devises something that your shadow is able to see in 3 dimensions. It's that fascinating. A 2-dimensional shadow looking at the 3-dimensional being, it is that fascinating. And the kind of work that is happening in astronomy these days, I assure you that next 4 to 5 breakthroughs in field of physics will come from astronomy. This year's Nobel Prize has gone to astrophysics. Expanders and cosmology. Next slide, please. Yeah. There you go, the cute black hole. I have a t-shirt printed like exactly this. I wanted to wear that, but then sophistication. Next. Alright, that is it. But before that, we come back to what is this thing called probabilistic universe. And let's go to deterministic first. So in deterministic universe, because everything is determined, and because everything is determined, everything is second-hand, right? So when I was preparing for this lecture, my favorite poet is Wisława Szymborska. So Szymborska won the 1996 Literature Nobel Award for her work on poetry. And she is known as the Mozart of poetry. So I'm going to read out one poem for you. It's called Love at First Sight. I thought you'd like it, for obvious reasons. But then this will explain how deterministic universe functions. Now before I go there, let me just tell you something very interesting. You remember Schrodinger's cat experiment? Until and unless observer is not opening the box, you don't know whether the cat is dead or alive. So outcome is dependent on the observer. If the observer is not observing in an experiment, you don't know whether that X thing is a particle or a wave. Right? Following me? Good. Any feminists in house? I'm a feminist. Come on, you can raise your hand. Look, I'm with you. So there's a very interesting feminist philosopher. Her name is Judith Butler. So Judith Butler says that gender is a performance and the consumer is the social audience. Right? So if you remove the social audience from there, gender becomes fluid. The moment you have a consumer for a gender, that is where you have a gender in meaning. And especially for women, because an attribute has been passed from generations to generations very seamlessly, society has given a meaning to it. And if the performance is not according to that meaning, the social consumer rejects the outcome. I like that song. मुझे Bluetooth से भेजना है. Right? So the social audience rejects that. Right? Now here's the thing. You look at quantum mechanical experiments. Sometimes you devising something so fantastic, and then what you see is not according to your mark. And then what do? You reject the experiment. Why am I finding similarities between gender theory and quantum mechanics? I don't know. This is the beauty of physics. You can actually take anything and explain physics with that. Anything under the sun. Now I have a course which I teach. It's called Astronomy Through Literature. So I'm basically teaching people Tolstoy and Garcia Marquez and all that. And I'm basically teaching them astronomy in that. And there's another course that I teach is called Astronomy Through Poetry. So many of you will wonder that Richard Feynman wrote poems. And that horrible mathematician which made our lives hell, James Clerk Maxwell, wrote poems. Yeah, there is a poem called A Problem in Dynamics. Yeah, you can actually go and read it. It's horrible, pathetic. Then Hamilton wrote poems. Hamilton actually wrote an ode to Fourier. Look at that. And then there's other people also. So many of them. So there's an interesting way of looking at physics. So I was reading Symbols study. So when I'm reading this, we go back to the argument of deterministic universe, okay? So This was Love at First Sight by Slava Szymborska. They're both convinced that a sudden passion joined them. So certainty is beautiful, but uncertainty is beautiful still. Since they'd never met before, they're sure that there'd been nothing between them. But what's the word from the streets, staircases, hallways? Perhaps they've passed by each other a million times. I want to ask them if they don't remember a moment face to face in some revolving door. Perhaps a story muttered in a crowd. A third wrong number caught in the receiver, but I know the answer, no, they don't remember. They'd be amazed to hear that chance has been toying with them now for years. Not quite ready yet to become their destiny. It pushed them close, drove them apart, and bowed their path, sifting a laugh and then leaped aside. There were signs and signals, even they couldn't read them yet. Perhaps 3 years ago or just last Tuesday, a certain leaf fluttered from one shoulder to another. Something was dropped and then picked up. Who knows, maybe the ball that vanished into childhood's thicket. There were doorknobs and doorbells where one touch had covered another beforehand. Staircases checked, standing side by side. One night, perhaps, the same dream grown hazy by morning. Every beginning is only a sequel after all, and the book of events is always open halfway through. Deterministic universe? Yes or no? Right? When chance has already been determined, you're just going in, you think you have possibilities, you have probabilities, you just think that you can control the world. But actually you cannot, can you? But then you toy with possibilities. You say, all right, let me just take the chance, let me just go and check. Let me just do something else which I want to do with my life. Let me just go and attend this horrible lecture that Pranav is giving. Why not? So that will change the fate of the universe. Perhaps sometimes. Perhaps most of the time. Perhaps never. And again, I'll come back to the question. If the universe is already ended, and the final light has not reached us, how will we know that the universe has ended? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.